Alex Answer here. It is October 30th in the year 2017. This is part of a regular discussion about YouTube, what is going on with YouTube, and what is its future. What I don't have is a crystal ball or a solid belief with where YouTube/Google is going to go. With regards to the idea of YouTube going down, being that this is a channel where we also talk about other things like geopolitics, uh, cyber attacks, things of that nature, they could bring down YouTube by design. And it certainly seems that they are, and for a long time, they have been killing the incentive for the independent voice to report on current affairs. And people like myself, whose YouTube channels pretty much revolve around controversial topics, current events, although I don't think that the content on my channel is fake. Now, there's spiritual beliefs that are fairly theoretical, but there isn't overt fake news or anything that I would consider extremist. However, is there some of that that's been promoted by YouTube and the social media giants? And is this a topic that I've been discussing for multiple years now? I've seen propaganda on Facebook, disinformation, demonizing particular groups, false threats, things that have whipped people up into a frenzy. Really increased after 2014 and then moving into 2015. And even today, I saw Facebook making sure their algorithm showed me the posts that were being made in a particular group saying that this particular incident had happened, and then doing some digging, find out the story is completely false. 100% false. And it was actually very, very sick. And I don't want to get into the details in this particular video. There are some things that are out there that are so sick and so perverted. What's the point anymore, right? What's the point of even covering it when it feels like you're talking to people that don't even realize the real fake news that does exist? Because it's not disinformation to say that there's fake news. Now, there's ways that they're spinning this. They're spinning this and making this about the election and blah, 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 blah. You've heard of the straw man argument, haven't you? And I think that's what we're seeing here. See, there is tampering on social media sites. I would even say that Russia today has played a particular role in co-opting the so-called independent thinker within the United States. Just because our own mainstream media is somewhat deceptive quite a bit, especially with regards to the wars, the never-ending wars, and accurately reporting on the atrocities taking place. And those are things that matter to me. Those aren't things that seem to matter to other people, especially in today's day and age, but maybe they voiced their opinion a little bit more 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and further on in the past when it was Obama and when it was Bush sitting in the White House. And now there's a lot of people that are very much asleep that I think should know better. So let's talk about YouTube with regards to knowing better. And let's bring this back to center. There are people on the left and the right, and I've been saying this since the apocalypse began, which is not over. It seems like it's returned. Um, so we've really been dealing with this since April when things really started to collapse. And I saw a reduction of 80% of what I was getting from YouTube. I never got very high, but I got to a point where it was about 500 to 700 for a few months there last winter where there was hope for it to continue to grow. But again, and I'm not alone in dealing with this, there are those of us that have built up a certain amount of subscribers, and only a certain percentage of those subscribers are seeing our content in the feed because the algorithm has filtered out some things. And we've already had experience with this happening to us on Facebook. In the future, I'm going to be promoting my newsletter more. I need to get back in the habit of sending that out, but that is one way, obviously, to combat this type of algorithm, is to reach people directly. It's like, hey, if you care about content here, I'm going to be establishing a newsletter where I send out the videos on a regular basis, and I see this as something that is absolutely necessary to start doing as soon as possible. Okay, so uh, that's something that I want to mention, and down below in the description, there should be some information on finding out about sign up for that newsletter. And of course, once you do that, check your spam folder. It's going to go to the spam folder first in most cases. So there's different ways, and you're probably noticing others on YouTube. A lot of people on YouTube, the preferred way in which people are being supported by their audience is Patreon. I do have a Patreon page. There's no pressure to join, but it is there down below also in the description. There are also other ways people can expand and monetize their content beyond YouTube. I will say that getting behind a lot of the newest best thing. Hey, have you heard about this? Hey, have you heard about that? I don't know about VidMe yet. I don't know about DTube. I know that YouTube still has strong potential. And a very special thank you to those of you that do support this channel and those of you that subscribe to outsofthebox.vhx.tv for exclusive content at $5.95 per month. Now, I've been taking a break lately from doing a lot of content, but it's going to be a much busier winter with regards to content, much more focused than wherever I was consciously in mind, body, and spirit last winter, where I was also still purging a lot of thoughts, a lot of pain, a lot of stuff pent up, as I was here, in this first winter here off the grid at this particular location, gearing up for my second winter at the same spot. And that's something that I also want to pause and reflect on in this moment. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming for me to settle down at the same spot. I would like to write a book about my life, although there's so much there. But I do want to paint the picture in the mind's eye of even before I was 18 years old, living with my parents. And at one point being enrolled in 6 high schools in a single year and feeling like I was born to be a nomad, whether I liked it or not. And sometimes we may come up with a certain realization of the predicament that we're in and realize we got to roll with it. We got to roll with it and understand that life and the experiences that we have are things to learn from, not be oppressed by. So I think that I've learned a lot from my life, and I think that I've barely scratched the surface of the things that I can share with you. And I think that a lot of my strengths with regards to YouTube relate to human psychology. And I would say more so than the box of MGTOW, but relating to that, human relationships and bringing some out of the box perspective on how we've ended up so divided within this society, and you can even say on this planet. Little bit of advice I want to throw out for other YouTubers. They are definitely making it difficult for anybody that is addressing particular topics, reporting on certain things. It does seem that the conspiracy movement is being baited to go in certain directions, that it's already pre-planned to be in, it. If the mouse bites the cheese here, the trap goes this way, and I've seen variants of this. I've seen variants of this. There are a lot of traps. I know I'm speaking broadly, but there's a lot of traps to discuss. There's a lot of traps out there on the internet. And bringing this full circle, right? Extremist fake news content does exist. I've seen it. I've even been traumatized by it. It's changed my worldview. It's led me to think that a lot of people think like that, but to a certain degree, a lot of people believe what they see on the internet. So these are dangerous times to a certain degree. It just depends who you are, whether they're dangerous or not, and where you're living. The fact of the matter is, this whole reality that we've been in the last few years has schooled me on one thing in particular. They can convince a large number of people that they are being invaded by people carrying a hijab. And they will believe it to the very end, right? And they can put out information. Russia can organize rallies, and they don't even have their agents here in the United States. Whether you see it as Russia or Israel or CIA, they don't even actually need to be on the ground. Sometimes they do have people on the ground do provocateur and start fights. But what about the initial rally itself? Everybody gather outside the mosque. There's a threatening mosque here, and all these people are gathering. Americans against fascism and against Islam, standing against the mosque. We're going to push you out. And not even realizing that there are forces behind the scene organizing that particular rally. And there's so many revelations that have come out, and I have talked about this for over 6 years. The idea that Russia is not a good guy and the good guy, bad guy dichotomy, but it's going to lead us to World War III, and all this is being planned for a reason. They've been co-opting the American people for a long time, and our government has never stepped in the way of RT. And I don't mean that RT hasn't put out good content, but it's very much controlled. They have producers that will step in and say, Don't have this person on. They're blacklisted. It's happened to me. See, they've done consulting with people on RT with regards to those that they consider in America safe to have on. They're going to do their little RT dap dance, whether it be a Gerald Celente rant or what is it, Leon, the other character who seems to play the modern day Gerald Celente. They've become a friggin' joke. And like Donald Trump, RT isn't held accountable when they play the left side of things. They'll produce content that'll be marketed to the right side of things. They'll do it in your face, folks. They'll do it in your face. Just like CNN. You talk about CNN, Clinton, all in with the Muslims. And then I got a DVD over here, America Remembers. And it's all post 9/11 war propaganda, courtesy of CNN. So they will manipulate their narratives per year, per few years. And the people, for the most part, don't recognize it. It's like something's happening with our memories. Is something happening with our memories? Are humans becoming more gullible? But see, let me tell you this. When I go out in the real world and I interact with real people and I hear their talking points and they don't realize their talking points, in some cases, have been shaped by alternative media, disinformation rather, on social media, that is falsely packaged as the truth, but in fact is grotesque disinformation, that frightens me. Oh, damn. That's not good. That wasn't good either when during the whole Bundy fiasco, a lot of people believe that was a legitimate stand. A legitimate stand against the U.S. government. I don't believe the players in the Bundy psyops were legitimate. And it's a little nostalgic talking about the whole Bundy psyops. Why is that? Because when I started doing dozens of videos on why I believed it was a psyops as it was happening, that is when I first started to see my videos demonetized on YouTube. And then it slowly built and built. And you know what happens for those of you that don't know. Certain videos that we may have worked very hard to produce or may have been one of the ones to do well on our channel, you get 60,000 views. Most of my early MGTOW content has been completely demonetized. And it's videos in which I was sharing from the heart during some difficult nights when I was living in Portland, and I basically shed a lifetime of stuff that I was holding in, and that reached people. And that almost seemed to help men let go from some of those attachments, some of those desires, to set themselves free. And to me, that's something spiritual, whether it be male, female. And I love going beyond the illusions of separation. So I'm going to wrap things up. Listen, as I said in the last video when I talked about this, I'm going to continue to focus on the positive despite what's happening with YouTube. But I haven't even reported to you all that I want to report. But there are bad things happening. There are channels being shut down. Some of those channels go into the Las Vegas situation and other things. And I would say that we are very much being censored from our free speech. And for people to exist on this platform right now, it seems like it's possible to conform to a certain level. But then again, I had a video talking about top 10 healthy ways, healthy tips to unplug from the matrix or stay healthy. And that was demonetized until, of course, a human came on. So I don't know what else to do or where else to go. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to continue living off the grid. I'm going to keep focusing on trying to make the world a better place. But I also realize that the warning signs are there. And they've been there for some time. Hell, I put out a warning 4 years ago saying I foresee a Google YouTube doomsday. That hasn't changed. But as I said to my friend today when I got a ride to town, by the way, I can't get my car fixed. We changed out the starter. It appears to be a wiring issue. So until I can find a mechanic that understands wires on a deeper level, there might be some other reasons it's not starting. So that's what I'm hoping to get. But I'm going to be hunkering down here and producing a lot of content. For those of you that don't know, I live off grid, and it's in a snowier part of Colorado, to the point where I don't know, there's some periods where I'm just going to be stuck, flat out stuck. And I'm ready for that. So the resources there, YouTube, other resources. And I also say this to those of you that are considering whether or not you might utilize your channel, but no pressure. Certainly no pressure in this day and age with so much going on. But I'm going to be here for now, and I'm going to hope for the best. Okay. In the face of what seems to be a great, growing, and ever-present threat, as we start seeing channels go down one by one by one, it is difficult. And my life, your life, our lives could be totally turned upside down through a number of major things, including any major changes to the economy and the way that the dominoes fall. So, we need to start being grateful for what we have in the moment, using the time available to us, right? Not resting on our laurels, I think is the phrase. Not becoming lazy, but attempting to move ahead. Yes, as I was saying to my friend earlier, hell, if something were to change this world where I was to be wrong about my geopolitical forecast and even YouTube going down, and we would, actually see things improve over time, even though everybody's talking about, the Orwellian reality and all these things. What about YouTube having something positive happen to it? Or for some of the YouTubers out there that are not deliberately attempting to push disinformation or just straight 100% conspiratorial, sensational, freak the hell out, controversial. I'd like to see this system balance out so we aren't just having our own conspiracies and fear mongering, prophesizing our own demise on YouTube. That's not healthy. That's not conducive to growth. I'll tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy to go, I'm going to go forward with positivity when we're seeing this negativity around us. But I have been here for 12 years, and for the here and now, I want to move forward into my 13th year on YouTube as we move into 2018. I'll also be announcing probably at some point in the future another video for the on-demand side of things. For those of you that are willing to support my work on the other end, that will have access to exclusive content that isn't on YouTube, also open to particular suggestions, but certain things that are too hot for YouTube, certain things that I would even consider personal to my own life, that I would rather have on demand than on my own channel. And perhaps other things. It'd be great to see documentary films and special reports put over at the on demand channel, create another way for people to support my work. For those of you that would like to support the work that I do here on YouTube. And I'm going to be producing a lot of videos tomorrow. There's a link down below to join Patreon. No pressure at all. Don't want to support? Don't support. But for those of you, right, that didn't know, there's a way you could support. The link is down below. And I thank all of you for watching. So yeah, we are facing some dangerous times. Channels could go down at any moment. I'll be back with more on the story. I'll be promoting more and more the newsletter. And I suggest, but first to myself, that I get in the habit of sending the newsletter, but second, that you get in the habit of mentally getting used to receiving it, if you will, by email, by signing up, and not just depending on YouTube to tell you, because the world is changing fast.